Hey everyone, Mark here from Snow Only once again. I've just been doing a lot of research on the Port de Soleil area in around Morzine, Avoriaz and Leger. And there's some really interesting detail for that kind of goes hand in hand with our buyers and what they're asking for. When we have buyers coming in to potentially purchase in Morzine or Leger, you kind of feel the next question that's coming is about the altitude and in comparison for the likes of Tignes and Val Thorens. Now, obviously, this isn't the same resort because the altitude of those places way over 2,000 meters, and Morzine is around 1,000 meters. So it is actually a concern for people. Yet the balance is that Morzine is such a hive of activity in the summer, and the demand of people is less so for skiing now, although obviously it's still the ski industry, but there is a shift towards people not even using their ski property for skiing, but only for the summer. So it's very difficult to kind of balance them both. But it's interesting to see what's happening recently, or at least the reports recently in the Port de Soleil. So I thought it was interesting that Snow Only write an article on this just to give people some update. I don't really see it as a particularly negative because I think the way that the industry is kind of shifting into maybe wellness and summer activities will kind of maybe be a bit of a positive in terms of an investment from an ROI, but also lend itself to people that have more a view of going there for the summer to get away from the warmer climates of, let's say, Dubai or such like. So we have people that the balance is that they can get access to skiing up in Avoriaz, which is obviously high altitude at 1,800 meters. And then you have the balance of the summer. So for me, it's just quite an interesting. I would love anyone that's kind of listened to this. I would love to hear your comments. I know there's a lot of people that listen to that have property in Morzine or Leger, and be interesting to get your thoughts and comments as to how you kind of see this evolving. So first of all, I just want to quickly give, for people that don't really know the area, you can see we have here the Port de Soleil, access to Switzerland to the left-hand side, a brief overview, obviously very easy connection from Geneva, and Leger. From Leger, you have to go into Morzine and then up to Avoriaz for the high-altitude skiing. Morzine is around, give or take, around 1,000 meters above altitude. Leger around 1,100. So just to give you some brief understanding of where it is, it's a huge ski area that still has a lot of demand for skiing. For me, it's one of my favorite resorts just because of the energy and the ambience in the summer and the winter, and the fact that it's so easy to access. So this kind of just gives you a quick orientation of where things are. It doesn't go up to the likes of, like the Grand Mont in Tignes up to 3,300, although Mont Blanc is relatively close. You kind of top out an altitude around 2,500 meters, but the ski area is extensive, and tons and tons of people are going. And, just to give you some feedback, the agents and the developers are selling a substantial amount of property now, so it clearly doesn't deter people. So this isn't a bash Morzine Leger video. It's, for me, just an interesting way of how it's kind of evolving in that case. So let me just remove this, and I'm just going to add to the stage. This is obviously the Snow Only site, which loads and loads of people have obviously been on. We're just going to go to click on articles. And then the latest article here that comes up is 230 million euro investment set to reshape the Morzine region for year-round living. Just while we're here, there are hundreds and hundreds of articles that you can scan your way through, just to give people market updates, updates on property, etc., etc. So I'm going to add the link for this to the description, so please feel free to click through yourself. But I just want to give you some key points in terms of what they're doing. Development plans in Morzine, Leger and Avoriaz are now moving from talk to execution. Reservoirs, new chairlift and some investment are underway, but many proposals hinge on public votes, permits and how the climate evolve, understanding both momentum and risk for anyone buying here. Construction, so here we go to start with, is Morzine leans into access and snow resilience. What I just want to kind of cover here is one of the things. There is a proposed cable car link between Morzine and Avoriaz. It's called the EMA project. We'll go to a public vote following consultation. The Express Morzine Avoriaz would connect Morzine's Place de la Cruzaz, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, directly to the Prodans Express lift, cutting time travel to around 15 minutes and reducing traffic road between the resorts. Earlier plans include a tunnel beneath Morzine, but recent discussions have focused on a simplified lift-only route, given past opposition to the project. Approval is far from assured, although that it is in the agenda. Morzine's strategy is clear: build stronger links and snow support to stay competitive in a warming environment. I think the whole reason behind this, essentially, is that the question is always asked, is the snow going to come down as far as 1,100 or 1,000 meters of where Morzine is? So the balance that they are going to have, Leger is obviously suffering from this problem because you have to get from Leger to Morzine and then up to Avoriaz. So instead of kind of telling people, oh, the snow is going to come into 1,000 meters, they're just adapting to the issue and making easy access to get up to Avoriaz for people that are in Morzine and Leger, and then making Morzine and Leger investment more into summer resorts, so then it still brings the year-round traffic. Leger is dedicating 75 million to winter infrastructure and water management, part of the broader 100 million euro investment that also supports summer and general resort works. So these are some of the things that are going on. You can have a read through of this, but in short, which I love this line, in short, Leger is repositioning reduce resilience on low slopes to push the traffic uphill and build summer yield to balance risk. So that obviously helps from the owner's point of view. When you have these 10 to 15 week summer seasons, we can balance the risk of their rentals coming in versus obviously the less reliance on the ski side of things in the winter. But with this quicker access up to Avoriaz, you've kind of like shifted it to the fact that there's no argument then to say, is the snow going to come down to 1,000 meters? The argument would then be, no, we can just push you up to 1,800 where you can access the snow. But in the summer, we have a thriving town where the investment is going to go to push the summer traffic, which I think is such a good way of kind of combating the argument of Morzine is too low. They are just adapting. Some extra bits here. At approximately 1,800 meters, Avoriaz has a natural snow advantage, but it can't rely on that alone. The summer concession runs to 2032, and under the framework, Solita plateau chairlift replacements have begun. Replacing plateau would relieve pressure on the Tour chairlift, which today is the main conductor between key sectors. As traffic grows, Tour is bottlenecked. Adding plateau redundancies would help future flow. Avoriaz's approach preserve its altitude edge while building alternatives present single point failure. It offers resilience provided that upgrades happen. Again, three strategies, one climate test. Leger is accepting its altitude limitations. It will push the lifts higher, remove lower infrastructure, and build summer engines. Morzine bets on connectivity and snow buffers. Avoriaz leans on altitude backed by redundancy, but climate remains the wildcard. If snow lines rise 200 to 400 meters by 2035, even reservoirs and lift upgrades may struggle. Artificial snow is expensive, water scarcity looms. These resorts are hedging rather than insuring. Some scenarios already strain assumptions. In a year with weak snowfall but rain at mid-altitude, a reservoir can't repair base slopes. If warming accelerates, the cost of snow support may outpace rental returns. What this means for property buyers: proximity to base points and approved upgrades become critical. For example, real estate near the Rosta base is likely to attract stronger demand and rent growth. If EMA Express Morzine Avoriaz passes, value in Morzine centre zones could tighten against Avoriaz levels. Current Avoriaz holds a 20 to 25% premium for snow security. And there's a bit of extra bits in there. A lot of these have parts of the article have been taken from other articles that we've kind of done some research on. So there's lots to do research on here. Final thoughts: the Morzine region is entering a new era of building while voting, strategizing under a shifting climate and balancing ambition with risk. For a serious property buyer, the opportunity lies not in hype-bent evidence. Invest where funding is approved, upgrades are underway, and community support exists. I've always been let me just remove this. I've always been interested in these kind of resorts because I think there is a shift towards that summer resort, while still balancing the ski side of things. If we have a tick box of, say, out of 10, it's very difficult to get 10 out of 10. Some people want to have the high altitude like Val Thorens or Teen, but they don't do what Morzine does for the summer. And there is a shift towards maybe summer activities, hiking, marathon rides, all these kind of things, Spartan races, the swimming pools in and outdoor, being in the river, all these kind of things. Then Morzine actually offers a pretty good balance. So we're not alienating ski buyers from Morzine. I think it just allows more of a balanced buyer that doesn't always want to ski, that wants that year-round living, to just appreciate Morzine a little bit better. As I said, I will add the link in. There's lots of research to do online, but a really interesting path that the area is taking. If you do own property here, I would love to hear your thoughts on how you see this area also evolving. Please do comment on this, like, share, do all the things that everyone asks any YouTube channel to do, and see if we can spread the word to build a community and get everyone's opinion on it. But thank you very much for listening, and I look forward to hearing from you all as to how we see the future of the Port du Soleil area. Cheers.